in session. We're going to be working into our theme, which is going to involve a bit of a yoga nidra, just to get you settled. But we're also going to do a vagus nerve reset, and it's just a very basic movement involving your eyes, which can help to just calm everything down in the nervous system, and then hopefully just bring you into a more relaxed state before we take you into that yoga nidra. And then following that, then obviously we're going to take it into your stretches, and just go with the idea that you're working with whatever feels good in the body for tonight. So anything that we do that feels uncomfortable in any shape or form, then yes, pull back. Hello. I don't want you to end up sort of pushing a position so far that you almost regret it later. So I want you to allow positions to settle in before you maybe decide to take it a little further. And that way, hopefully, you find what's going to be considered as the right level for you. And if I was to put a quantity on it, then it's making sure that whenever you take it into a stretch, the aim might be to get to what's a 7 out of 10 in your own personal scale of how those positions feel. But depending on what your body's used to or not used to, then you could go for a 5, you could go for a 4, whatever feels good in the position that you get into. And then you can modify as you need to as we go if you feel like you want to deepen it a little bit further. So let's see, I'll just allow Liam to turn the button. So you can grab either one of those two. And if you want to get your nest made up there, Elaine, and if you fold out the blanket and just pop it onto the mat, and if you want a second blanket, if you want, you can borrow this one. I don't know if this other lady's coming. Or if you want a fluffy blanket, we can get you a fluffy. Okay. So you can be seated or lying down, whatever feels more comfortable to start with. And I want you to allow your body to settle in wherever you are, to allow your body to let go and just find whatever feels like it's that comfortable space. I want to allow the body to feel like it's nestling in, letting it feel like it's in a very supported position, which brings a safety and a security in your body. To fully set the scene as we delve into this practice to bring you into a very relaxed state, but also upon reflection to encourage contentment with where you are at this moment in time, with anything that you present to your body on the way through, but also contentment that you can take away so that hopefully this evening will be a very relaxed and very deep sleep. So we're initially going to take it into a vagus nerve reset. So no matter where you're resting, I want you just to allow your eyes to open if they're closed. And for this reset, I don't want you to feel like this is something that you have to try really hard at, because it is designed for trying to relax the body, to send messages through into the parasympathetic nervous system to create a sense of relaxation. So with the eyes open and the head staying still, allow the eyes to look
to the right. And as you look to the right, almost as if you're aiming to whether it's 3 or 9 o'clock, depending what way your mind works. But we're going to hold this point of gaze. And as we hold, we're waiting for a point in time where maybe you feel the sense of a sigh wanting to come in, or maybe a swallow, or maybe it's a yawn. Being able to relax into this position may help encourage that sigh, that swallow, or that yawn to appear. And any one of those can present that sign that the vagus nerve has sent those signals through your system to relax. And if it doesn't happen, it just may mean that you need a little longer. We're going to allow just that pause, allowing the eyes to recenter. And if it feels more comfortable, just allowing the eyes to close briefly. And then allowing the eyes to open. And again, with the head being still, we're going to allow the gaze to look to the left. Again, around, maybe that's that 9 o'clock. Not straining, just looking and relaxing. Waiting to see if that sigh, that swallow, or that yawn can manifest. I'm waiting for that sign. But again, if it doesn't happen, still encouraging the body to relax. And allowing the eyes to slowly center. And again, allowing the eyes to gently close. Just allowing a few deeper breaths. allowing the air to fill and open and expand. And as you exhale, feeling the body soften, almost as if you're melting into your mat. And as you allow the breath to settle back to its normal rhythm. If you're in seated, I would invite you to lie down and to come into our first part of our yoga nidra. And again, to feel warm, to feel fully supported where you are. Allowing the mind to delve into the quiet. The stillness. Allowing the body, again, that sense that you're almost melting. Merging with your mat. Closing off the mind to anything that's not involved within our practice. Choosing to stay with our focus, our intentions for relaxation, and to be content with where you are. And our autumn reset. The morning mists hover lightly above the river. The air feels cool and slightly damp, and you walk along the path. The sunrise gently breaks the sky, turning it delicate shades of pink and gold. Slowly, the leaves are loosening their grip, and as they begin to fall, their amber hues come to a peaceful resting place before returning to the earth from which they came. Your body relaxes with every breath you take. Your thoughts loosen. Your body loosens, softening your face, softening your jaw. As you soften the tiny muscles around your eyes, softening your throat, letting your shoulders be soft, softening your chest. And as you take a deep breath in, softening the space around your heart. And another breath as you relax at the core of you. Softening your stomach, softening your thighs. Letting your knees soften. Your calves soften. And as your feet gently soften, your whole body relaxes. And as your body softens and your mind softens, you become aware of a sound in the distance. The sound is the steady beat of wings as geese fly in formation through and over the river. As each bird flaps its wings, it creates an uplift for the bird following behind. The geese instinctively know that they can fly further if they fly together. Each bird supports the others, and this support creates a collective energy. When the bird at the front feels tired, it returns to the back of the formation to rest. The birds at the back send encouraging support to those at the front. You think of your own support network, calling in to the mind's eye, the people who are encouraging you along the way, those who love and care for you, and those who have your best interests at heart, those who want more than anything for you to be happy and to succeed. You feel gratitude that you are supported, and you pause to acknowledge that there are times when you need to lead and times when you need to rest. You take a moment to check in with yourself to see what is needed in your life right now. Is it a time to lead, or is it a time to rest? As you listen to your truth, you hear the geese continuing their flight. As their sounds begin to fade into the distance, you become aware of breathing a perfect cycle of nature. Just as the leaves return to the earth each autumn. Everything perfectly as it's meant to be. 'Be. 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 ' And as you inhale, you notice the final wisps of mist dissolving as the sun warms the air. You feel ready to begin your practice, knowing that if you need support, all you have to do is ask for support. Now, gently, we're going to bring you into your first pose. And I'm going to draw you into butterfly. So staying on your backs, allowing your knees to bend, bringing the soles of your feet close into you and together. And as the knees drape out to the sides, the knees fall open, they fall wide. And if the knees don't make it to the floor, which for most of us, that's not going to happen. So you can decide if you need some support here. And that support might take the form of pillows or blocks, resting underneath the outer thighs if you don't want to allow this to go deeper. If you want encouragement to go deeper, you can place either a blanket or a bolster or something with some weight, resting onto the knees, either both together or individually. So if it feels like you need that extra support, allow it to draw in. Allowing the weight to feel the encouragement into your position. So whether that's bolsters on the legs or sandbags or just the weight of blankets, duvets, whatever you have. And returning to that softening in the body. And for now, encouraging the hips and the lower back to soften into your mat below. With a lot of our yin poses, it's finding that level. Some poses are stronger than others, and this one is our introduction. So on your own personal scale, how does this feel? Whether it's a challenge, whether it's easy. And our guideline of no more than a 7 out of 10. Gravity may take you to a 4, maybe a 5, and supports may take you deeper. But wherever you choose, it's being content with that. And softening around your choice. And as we delve into our longer poses, always respecting what you're feeling in your body and how it's communicating with you. If anything feels sharp, sore, that's where we want to use supports to keep us out of that information. The challenge is there, but to stay within what feels good in your body. But however else the body talks to you and what you feel and what evolves over the time, listen intently. Choosing whether to still the body or still the mind, to soften within the pose. Or do you need to adjust? Now slowly we're going to draw you into your first rebound pose. So we're going to draw you back into your resting position, lying down, allowing any bolsters or weights or supports to be removed and, and to find that comfortable position. And these rebounds are your time to explore the sensation changes that can evolve after a pose. Some poses you can feel very stiff, very unsure as you come out, and it's always taking it slowly. And sometimes the rebound, as it changes, sensations can get deeper, or they can soften and diminish. Listening to your body. Listening to how the mind talks to you within noting the wording to help guide you to what your body needs as we move through our poses. Our next pose, as we slowly bring you into it, is a soft twist. I'm going to bring you onto your right side. And despite this being a soft twist, it might be strong around the chest, but you'll set yourself up with a pillow underneath the head. The knees are on top of one another as if you're sitting in a chair, so that right angle at the legs, at the knees and the hips. The two hands are one on top of the other, and then slowly allowing the upper body to open. Now, wherever you end up, if the knees are wanting to part, maybe choosing to put something on the legs to help keep the two knees together. So that might be a bolster or it could be a sandbag so that it allows the legs to stay fixed. Being at this, so you can let them almost kind of close you into that space. And as the arm opens behind you, if it feels like the arm is kind of flailing in the air, maybe you need a pillow or something underneath it to form a bit of support. But can we be wide open across the chest with both arms? Why that arm to come down a little there. So if it feels like we draw across and we're fully open through the chest, allowing those breaths just steady and smooth to help encourage that relaxation. Almost each breath encouraging the ribs to soften, almost melting through the waist and the ribs. And softening into the back of the shoulders. Maybe allowing and encouraging you to get a little further. But listening intently to how this position feels in your body. As every pose has a target area. Oh, the side of the hip, the side of the waist, around the rib cage, and into the front of the shoulder and the chest. You may feel it in one place, you may feel it in all of them. Breathing and softening. Noticing what's arising in this twist. As with many poses, if we're tapping into where you're tight, where the body's holding on, it can be hard to let go. And the sensations can vary. But just notice where it leads you. What you felt when you first set up the pose may feel quite different to what you feel now. You feel content with where your body has been able to move. Content with being able to settle in and soften. Slowly allowing that arm that's behind you to drift back towards the grounded arm. Slowly drawing it across to release. And allowing the body to find its way into your rebound. Again, removing any bolsters or supports to allow you to rest back into that relaxed, centered position. And as we rest on our backs and the legs relaxing out, again, just allowing the body to explore again the information that comes. How does the body feel after? What do you notice that feels different? Has that encouraged you to be able to soften any further? Slowly, we're going to bring you onto your other side. So bringing the legs up and drawing onto your left side. And again, as you set up the knees level with the hips, that right angle at the knees and the hips, as if you're in that chair. Using a bolster to help support the legs into position. That sense of lengthen through the body, the lengthen through your spine. The longer we feel here, the more open that rotation can be. The two hands, one on top of one another, and then as you slowly draw that arm open, encouraging it to bring the chest and the rib cage with you. Noticing again if that arm feels like it's just in the air. Do you need something underneath it to support? Again, listening to this side to notice. How is this side feeling? Softening into the hips, softening into the lower back, softening the ribs, softening the shoulders, almost allowing the chest bone to sink through the body, sinking through and into the spine, sinking into the mat below. What's coming up for you here? What's different about this side view? How does the mind judge these feelings? Accepting of where you are, content with where you are. Allowing the body to slowly unwind, allowing that hand to return back to the grounded arm. Releasing the bolsters and allowing you to find your way onto your back for that next rebound. To allow your body to unwind from the twists and to explore how this now feels. Maybe there's that comparison to the other side. And as time unfolds, noticing how the body either accepts or gives you some more information about where you took that stretch. The levels that I'm taking my body to, am I feeling that I'm listening and I'm setting it at the level I need to be at for whatever you hope to gain? So as we invite into our next poses, to be mindful of the level, to find what's going to be the best intention for you. And we're going to draw you up slowly into seated for your next pose. And as we draw up for this next one, I want the body to feel like it's as upright as you can get it. So that might mean either folding up a blanket or using it as a layer, or you can use one of a block, a yoga block to sit on if you know that sitting upright is harder. So sometimes just sitting onto the edge of a blanket or the edge of a block, but like right on the edge, as if it's going to help to kind of tip you forward. So that the pelvis almost tilts a little bit so that the tail shines backwards, but to feel comfortable there so that it doesn't feel like too much of an effort. The longer we can keep the back position, the more challenging this will make this pose, but it will bring it into the target area, which is going to be into the hips, possibly hamstrings, just depends. So we're going to start with the right leg and we're going to bring it across the opposite leg. So the left leg is out in front, left foot in front of the left hip. And depending on your range of movement in that hip will depend on how far you're able to go, but you're going to try to slide the foot as far across as it will go to encourage the knee to drop. And again, as you're here, maybe there's a little support coming in from the knee, but then it's folding forwards. And this is where you might need to have a bolster or a support, because you might decide that maybe the head needs to be supported, however far forward that you go, to take the weight of the head under support. If it feels like, no, I'm not going to get there and I need to use this leg, then I can use pillows, but just be mindful of the weight that you press onto that leg. So a bolster might feel like it's too heavy. You might need to use a pillow, blocks, whatever you need, but to allow the body again to rest forwards. So our key things with this pose as you set it up is to find lengthen through your back so that we hinge forward from the hips. Then as the leg reaches across the body, how far can it go? And then as we rest forwards, is it more of a rounding that has developed into the back? Can I allow the head just to find that support wherever it needs to be and allowing the hands to relax? So as with any pose, especially when there may be more than one target area, it's finding where to bring yourself. And again, with yin, it's very much about having the support. So maybe using, if you've only got lots of pillows, I would want those pillows to come up so that you're able to allow the head to relax. Heads are heavy. So yeah, so can we allow the head to rest down? The caution with that will be if the head drops down and it feels like it's nervy, then just allow a little bit more support. Maybe it's with the chin up, but to allow the head to feel that again, it's supported wherever you can be. And again, listening to your body. So know that the position that you're finding for yourself, does it feel that the level is right? The level of challenge you can be content with. To be still. And as you listen, whether you need to delve deeper as the time passes, and you may need to adjust for that, or whether you need to draw back, listening and doing what's needed for your body. What is unfolding in the body? What sensations are arising? Slowly starting to draw the head up and drawing the body out of that position, but we're going to take it straight into the second side. So you might not have to move too far, but recognizing that your two sides could be very different. So again, then the right foot in front of the right hip, the left foot crossing over as far as you feel that you can. And as you draw that leg across, again, that upright position so that you feel that you're folding forwards from the hips. And again, whatever supports that you need, whatever, if it's a bolster to support the forehead, or if it's resting with pillows on top of the leg and resting the head again. So finding that level of support that you need to encourage the level of challenge for this side. Again, acknowledging if this becomes nervy at all, just allow the chin to lift and the head to be supported. The invitation. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you have touched the center of your own sorrow, if you have been opened by life's betrayals or have become shriveled and closed from fear of further pain. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it or fade it or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own. If you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes, without cautioning us to be careful, to be realistic, to remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you're telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself. If you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. If you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty even when it's not pretty, every day, and if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand on the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the full moon, yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you have. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, and do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the center of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone with yourself and if you can truly like the company you keep in the empty moments. The invitation to be content. Now slowly starting to draw yourself into your rebound. Again, as you draw yourself down, removing any bolsters, pillows, to find that relaxed position. And as you get there, trying to soften, to explore what the body feels. Bringing it onto your back. Trying to establish again how the body feels. We have opened into the hips, we have delved into the hamstrings, we've delved into the length of the back. Enabling the body to find more open space. So how does the body feel as it's unfolding from our pose? What are you noticing? What feels different? Slowly, we're going to draw you up for your next pose. So our next pose is a half frog. Some of you will know frog and you might decide, oh, that's an interesting one coming up. Have no judgment. So for our frog position, so if we were doing full frog, it would be both knees bent and that will form part of your startup so that you'll get yourself into a little bit of a box so that the center of the hip and the center of the knee are in line with one another. So they're on the vertical. So to do half frog, one leg is going to be out straight so that the heel is line with the center of the hip is in line with the knee on the other bent leg. Now with this one, my aim is to get the belly button on the floor. So that may not happen. And that's why we have pillows and supports and things. So it's topping something so that it's underneath, maybe around sort of the pubic bone and the rib cage, so that wherever you're able to sink into, to find that depth. So as you end up in that position, you'll have one knee will be open out to the side. Again, one leg will be in that position, and then the other leg will be out straight to the side. So you might need Mark to turn sideways on your mat just to give you enough space there. And the same, you guys, if you want to turn sideways, maybe Elaine, so that you've got your knees both and your feet on the mat, because that might offer either a little bit of extra slip, just to be mean, but it might give you a little bit more encouragement if you turn side on, just to be able to be in that space. Yeah. So the lower, this where use the bolsters, and it might be two bolsters in underneath you to get them high enough to where you find that support. So the knee that's out to the side will be a bit of a right angle, and the straight leg, again, where it can be. So that you're in a straight line from your heel to your hip to your knee. So let's see. So Anne-Marie, if you can bring your straight leg out to the side rather than behind you. Yeah, yeah. So if you imagine that both knees might be in this position, but one leg is going to be out straight to the side and the other leg is out here. So we still make a straight line side on. Yeah. So you might find that your hips have to go higher to be able to get that foot out to the side, far enough that it's level with your other knee. Still looks like it's a little bit behind there, Anne-Marie. So it almost looks like you're in like this position as opposed to, let's see. So I want you to be side on. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. That's it. Yeah. So from that position, then whatever height you need to be to allow the body to sink through the pubic bone, the ribs. Yeah. So it's as if you're trying to get the body. Yeah, totally lean on what's underneath the chest. Yeah, totally lean on it. Yeah. So to find, yeah, that's brilliant. On this one, can this knee come out to the side out here? So if you imagine, rather than it being like child's pose, you want to be up on that knee. Yeah. So yeah, that's it. So it's in like your box position and then the other leg's out to the side. And that's where you'll figure out, do you need to be higher with the bolsters? So the deeper down that you can go, so can this knee come underneath you? So rather than child's pose, it's more in your box. Yeah. And the same, if you can bring that knee backwards a little. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So from these positions, I know this one's a challenging one. So we're trying to allow the height. So can this knee and be underneath you like it's in a box position? Yeah, so bring it back. That's it, back a wee bit more. And you're trying to slide this leg out to bring the body down. But rather than letting the hip fall back, try to stay lifted. Yeah, so then you're trying to, it's like the width of the legs, the wider they go, knee and foot apart from one another, that's what brings you down. Yeah. So this one is definitely, it's a bit more of a challenge. And the encouragement here is that foot may slide. It may slide out to the side a little deeper, allowing the hips to get a little closer to the floor underneath you. Yeah. And this is where the supports, if it feels like the foot is sliding, so using the, yeah, you can use the sandbag, or even if you want, you could fold that back and you might get a little bit more grip from there. Yeah. Yeah. So both legs are going to feel this. So both legs are a target, but depending on the depth that you go to, depending on the depth that you go to, will depend on which one feels it the most, because we have short adductors and we have long adductors. So if you're tighter in the short adductors, then the bent leg will feel it more. If you're tighter in your long adductors, then the long leg will feel it more. But both might just feel it quite a lot. This is a harder pose to be content with, much harder. And this is sometimes then within the yin practice, it can become very much a big challenge. But where is that appropriate level of challenge for you for now? Recognizing that as some of these poses delve a little deeper in the body, it might be harder to be still, but this is the challenge that lies within yin. Can I be with this no matter the discomfort? But remembering that challenge level, no more than a 7, but choose what's right for you. Now slowly, we're going to start to draw you in, and we're going to take a child's pose as a very brief rest in between the two sides. So just allowing the knees to come in, you can allow the hips to fall back, and the arms could be under the head, they could be reaching in front, or they could be down by your side. So wherever, yeah, feels comfortable. But just allow the body to settle down. To give it just this little moment to soften between. Allow a breath, softening on the exhale. Now, slowly, we're going to bring you on to that second side. So, the leg that you had out straight, that's going to be the bent leg, and then trying to allow that other leg to find a straighter position as it can, knowing that the hips are above the knees at the start so that you've got that straight line, that vertical thigh, and then allowing as best you can that leg to move out to the side and allowing the body to find its support through the pubic bone, through the rib cage of the chest, wherever you need it to be, so that it helps prevent you from sliding deeper on this unless you choose that's where you're ready to go. And within that level, Elaine, it's whether this knee can come out further to this side. Yeah. Yeah. So it's almost like imagining that with this pose that both legs are actually moving wider. So that bent knee doesn't stay underneath the pelvis. It actually drifts wider as well. But it is much easier to let the straight leg slide if it needs to. But it's find your support. Recognizing that this side might be very different to the other side. So listening and modifying if you need to bring the level to what feels like it's that appropriate level of challenge. Listening to what this side is revealing. Adapting as you need to and softening where you can. Knowing that whenever it feels right to allow the body to delve deeper, but only if it feels right. What is this pose bringing up for you? Every pose brings a different energy into the body. Just noticing where it's bringing you to. Sometimes if this challenge is targeting an area where you are blocked, you're tight, it can bring up a lot of energy. The level of challenge that you set can calm it or can encourage it. So listen. Notice when you feel you want to add to that challenge, to stir it up or to pull back, to quieten. And slowly starting to draw yourself into your rebound. And you could choose here whether to bring it to lie on your tummy or to lie on your back. So either as your rebound that you feel would feel better to you. So whether on your tummy or whether on your back, to allow the body to find that position where you can again explore how the body feels as you release from this pose. Every pose can bring a different energy, so every rebound can be a little different. Exploring any change of sensations. Slowly starting to draw yourself back up. And we're going to bring you into seated. So our next pose is deer pose. So we need to have a number of pillows and bolsters that are going to feel like it's supporting the length of the body. So you might need a few for this one at home. For those that are in the studio, you have two different types of bolsters. One is less packed than the other one, and I would suggest the one that's less packed because you'll just get a softer end on it if you can kind of get it with a little bit of a slope. Okay, so I'm going to pop the roll, if you like, along the side of me, and I'm going to pop my right hip right to the edge of it, and it's at that sloping end. Okay, and I'm going to bring a bit of a right angle to that leg that's in front, and the other leg is out the same, that kind of Z sit or that sort of mermaid sit. So with the legs in that position, I'm going to try to get my body to turn so that my chest bone is coming down onto the bolster. But depending on how easy it is for you to twist, you might, with the right leg forward, your head might be looking towards the right knee. But if you're able to take it so that the head turns to the opposite side, that's another option in terms of the depth of it. So that you almost take like a full spiral up through your spine. So yeah, so trying to allow the body to come into a position where you feel that you have that twist, and whether that stops around the mid body or whether the head continues over to the other side. And it's finding the support enough that you feel the whole of the torso is supported. Wherever the arms are comfortable and wherever the head position chooses to be. Allowing yourself to settle in, relaxing through the legs, through the hips, softening through the thighs and through the belly, softening into the back. Softening through the rib cage and through the chest bone. Softening through the shoulders. And softening through the neck, the throat, through the jaw, and into the eyeballs and the forehead. The target area on this pose could be a number of areas, through the thigh, through the hips, through the back, and anywhere along the back and through the rib cage. Again, what has your body brought with this pose? Can it relax and just be here? Or do you notice, is there an area in the body that's holding back, that won't let go and find peace, find contentment, to be able to soften into the supports? Delving in within is using the mind to make that connection to the body. To make a judgment. Is it safe to release, to relax? Will this bring me something positive as I let go? Maybe I let go a little and I maybe need to modify or adjust. To find a way of completely relaxing. Slowly starting to draw yourself up from this pose. Taking your time. This can be a strong one, so allowing the head to peel away. And we're going to bring you into a rebound to allow the body to release from that twist. And again, you can choose whether on your tummy or on your back. So whichever feels that it brings you into a more relaxed position. Again, listening intently to what starts to unfold. Slowly starting to bring the body up for our second side. So allowing yourselves to reposition, to bring the bolster towards that left hip. So again, if it's the softer end of the bolster, if you can, but again, keeping it tight into the hip, and again, that leg at 90 degrees out in front. And then from there, allowing the body to rotate, trying to find the belly button, the chest bone towards the support. And again, whether the head is looking towards that left knee, whether initially, or whether it's able to make that full rotation to look away from the knee. That top knee can be forward, it could be further backwards if it needs to add a little bit more to this position. Again, listening, establishing whether the body can settle here and be still. Listening to whatever unfolds. The journey. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began, though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice, though the whole house began to tremble, and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried. But you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do. Though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones. But little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a new voice, which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save. Listening to what the body and the mind are communicating with you. Listening to the energy within your body. Listening to the chatter inside your mind. You delve deeper and go down that road. Or do you know when to hold back? Slowly releasing the head. And we're going to slowly peel you back to come into that Shavasana rebind pose. So on the front or on the back again. Wherever your body tells you to go, listening and settling. Being the observer of what unfolds in your body. What are you noticing? Acknowledging every message the body gives you. Knowing that that information can help shape you for whatever's next. Do I press a little further? Do I hold back? Be slow and gentle. And we're going to bring you into our final pose. So if you're on your back, you can stay there, but we're going to reorientate a little bit. So we're coming into Banana Asana. So some of you'll know this one. So with this position, we're going to start on the right side of your mat. So drawing yourselves onto your back and onto the right side of your mat. So as you bring the whole body in line with the right side, yeah, so just onto your back, that's it. So as I bring myself over, I'm going to allow my legs to drift over to the left side. And it's bringing them over as far as you feel, again, in terms of the depth of this pose. As we bring the legs over to the left, the right foot goes on top of the right ankle, or sorry, left ankle. And if you need anything to prop the legs in this position, then you can use a bolster if it helps to take some of the holding tension away from the legs here. So allowing the legs to be straight, but one leg on top of the other. So it's like it's over to the side and the legs are straight. So as I'm lying down, my hips should be flat to the floor. And as my hips are flat to the floor, my legs are long and straight, and I'm allowing the depth of that side bend and the whole length of the body to develop from the legs to the left side, and the upper body also drifting over towards the left side. So the hips, the shoulders, and the back are flat to the mat, but there's a big side curve in the body. The arms, as you're here, could be in an elevated position if it feels like they're comfortable to go there. So I'm creating that very long C curve through the right side of the body. Maybe having a support under the arms is needed as you're up here, or maybe even using a bolster or a sandbag on the shoulder to help settle you down. Yeah. Do you want to try one? You can totally take it off if it's too much. Okay. Lean on the shoulder. Why the arms to go up, and it's just whether from here if it feels like it's too much on the shoulder. Okay. Good 5 kilos. This one feels like it could go up and over. And you can decide if this feels like it's too much or not enough. So in this pose, the target area is that full right side of the body up through the outer thigh, the outer hip, the outer waist, up through the outer shoulder, all the way up through the arm if it's overhead. But to feel that length through that right side doesn't mean that the left side is condensed. Doesn't mean that we're allowing the body to feel compression. Allowing that sense of space to open to the side ribs. Noticing whether the lower back feels, is it arching away from the mat, or can you soften and let the back of the ribs letting the back of the body sink deeper in on itself. And slowly allowing the body to release the upper arms, to release the arms back down, and to draw the upper body back into the middle of the mat, to allow the legs to unfold and to find the middle of the mat again, to allow that rebound to draw in. Again, this rebound, this rest pose, sometimes this can feel like a strong position on the back. Let the body be where it needs to be. And noticing, what is that pose brought up? What does it feel like, that changing sensation conveys in the body? Now we're going to bring you into that final pose. So we're going to bring the body over to the left side of your mat. And as you bring yourself over to the left side, the legs are long and the legs are drifting over to the right side, still keeping the pelvis flat, bringing the left foot on top of the right leg. So you feel that start of that side curve on that outer left hip. And then allowing the upper body to drift over whenever you're ready, maybe a bolster on the legs if you need to secure them, but allowing the upper body also to drift over to the right side. So you create that long side bend into the left side body. And again, if those arms are going up and over, do you need to have the bolster or pillows or blankets or the sandbags resting onto the chest or the upper arm to find that comfortable but maybe challenging space? Settling in, finding that length up through the left side body. Sinking in and melting into the lower back. You are already that which you want to be. And your refusal to believe this is the only reason you do not see it. To seek on the outside for that which you do not feel you are is to see in vain. For we never find that which we want. We find only that which we are. Slowly starting to draw the arm down, removing the weight from the chest and the shoulders, and allowing the body to drift back into center to find your final rebound, your final shavasana. To find comfort here, using any pillows, supports, blankets, whatever you need to allow the body to release and find this final relaxation. Acknowledging what the body is feeling, coming out from that second side. Being able to make that comparison. How the body felt from one side to the other. And how you feel now coming out of all poses. Accepting.
Noticing. Being content with what your body has found through these poses. The information that it has given you so that you can take that on your onward journey. But being content with where you are now. Being grateful for what your body has been able to do. Being positive about where it has brought you. So allowing that positivity to be within the mind. And that feeds your forward journey. Slowly just starting to allow the body to open, taking that good evening stretch, reaching the arms overhead, lengthening the legs out, almost bringing it into a big yawn. Let the body open. And then as the arms float down, the knees can draw in towards you, whether just to settle, feet on the floor, or whether to draw the legs in for a hug or a rock. And keeping our movements slow, just in your own time, starting to draw yourself up into a comfortable seat, wherever that may be. Just taking a little moment as you draw up. Bringing the hands onto the heart center. And again, just that little prayer to yourself, that acknowledgement and that gratitude for where you are now. and what you've been able to do. Namaste.
Stay.